RM Sotheby's is the world's largest collector car auction house by total sales. They are the preeminent market maker of high-quality collector cars and collections, regardless of size or complexity. By working in partnership with the Sotheby's team and its network of 80 offices in 40 countries, RM Sotheby's has established the largest client network of any collector car auction house in the world. Join the RM Sotheby's family by connecting with one of their car specialists at rmsotheby's.com or contact me directly at GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. LLC TLC is here to save you money on all of your vehicle purchases. LLC TLC will permanently register your classic cars in Montana to avoid any annual renewal fees. As your registered agent, they will handle everything for you so you never have to step foot in Montana. And as a listener of this podcast, LLC TLC is offering 30% off your entire package. Simply go to llctlc.com/classic or mention this podcast when you contact LLC TLC directly. All right, happy Thanksgiving to all and welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. This is the big Thanksgiving Day special, so while you are enjoying food with your family, I'm sure you'll have some downtime and possibly some travel time where you can listen to a few podcasts, and hopefully you're enjoying this podcast right now. So if you're not on my email subscription list, I do a fun newsletter. It's an outlet for me for creative writing, and recently I had one that was called the Thanksgiving Turkey That Wasn't a Bird. So if you're not on my e-list and you would like to join it, please shoot me a note. Let me know your email address. Email it to greg@thecollectorcarpodcast.com and I will add you ASAP. I have a nice little part where I'm interviewing our sponsors, LLC TLC, for an update on how they are doing. They were able to attend the Cincinnati Concours and they were just so much fun. I think you'll enjoy hearing about them and what is going on with their business. And then first off, I thought I would start by reading my Thanksgiving letter. This is the e-newsletter I just sent out. So there will be a couple of videos or images online, but please enjoy some of my creative writing. If you don't like my creative writing, just fast forward about a minute and a half. The armed huddle mass shuffled under the pulsating glow of a single blue police light. The toil from the previous day had affected them all in various ways. They were downtrodden and beaten. Conversation was not forbidden, but it was not encouraged. I kept my head down and my free hand on my wallet. My body had not yet recovered from yesterday's festivities. Why did I eat so much turkey? I silently asked myself. It was Black Friday of 1987 and Kmart's Blue Light Special featured the Daisy Model 25 BB gun with elbow side pump action and a large takedown knurled head bolt. I'd lost mine recently while goofing off with Warren and Tad down by the ditch. For years, we ran between the neighbors' houses with BB guns at the ready. Frogs, minnows, and the occasional tadpole felt our wrath. This was the 1980s, and no one cared. Our neighborhood was safe, and our parents trusted our judgment. They were glad we were out, and we knew which house to, quote-unquote, stay away from. Atari's Pitfall and ColecoVision's Major League Baseball were the only two video games of note at the time. Thankfully, this police light was not accompanied by riot gear, yellow tape, or Molotov cocktails. Even so, my day would still end in flames. This was the day I drove my first classic car. Now, the test drive wasn't planned or warranted as I was a 16-year-old busboy at the local salad bar that masqueraded as a steakhouse. I was riding shotgun down State Road 13 when Tim spied the bathroom caulk-colored 1966 Mustang Coupe at Crowder's used car corral. It was a base model with the base V8 engine, but it was a V8. I'd heard the stories for years. Underpowered V6s and anemic straight fours powered Citations, badge-engineered Cadillacs, and Chevettes at the time. I hesitantly approached the only adult present and inquired about taking it for a test drive. Surprisingly, he answered with an enthusiastic, "Sure." Either Crowder was desperate for business or that guy didn't work there. He threw me the keys, and if memory serves me right, I skipped over to the Mustang. This was it, my first drive in a classic car. Most of my firsts were accompanied by nauseated attempts to flee. My first fifth grade kiss with Susie, my first French horn solo, my first public speaking event, my first sales presentation, and yes, even my first creative automotive e-newsletter. This first was no different, but the nauseated feeling was from the strong smell of mildew mixed with Armor All, pine-scented disinfectant, and a life of neglect. But like that first kiss, I didn't care. Now, Susie, please don't read anything into this. It's just a metaphor. While the Mustang was a mess, Tim was up for whatever and whatever headed north towards the brilliantly named roller skating rink, Skate Road 13. I quickly found that the operation of a late 1960s car was not that much different from the 1980s. You pump the gas more, turn the steering wheel harder, and hit the brake sooner. I also found that tired 22-year-old V8 engines disappoint on many levels. A lack of power, responsiveness, and billowing fumes from an exhaust leak made me reevaluate my parents' 1983 Chevy Citation. After a few miles of uneventful driving, eventful things began to happen. I noticed that the gas gauge was so buried, empty had become aspirational. The spindles and tie rods cracked as I U-turned back to Crowder's. As we approached the car corral, the Mustang just died. At the moment I exited, a red 1966 Mustang convertible passed us. Full of teenagers having a good time, they honked and waved with enthusiastic support. At least that's how I took it. Not knowing much about cars, but knowing the magic happened up front, I opened the hood and looked around. For some reason, I fiddled with the fangles, tapped the tappers, and donked the dangles. Satisfied that I looked like an educated classic car owner, I closed the hood and fired up the old Mustang as the Kmart Blue Light Special buyers headed home. Nothing. Again I turned the key. Nothing again. And suddenly I heard a rotating groan accompanied by a pop. After a few moments of silence, smoke gracefully began to exit from under the hood. As Tim sprinted to Crowder's for help, I opened the hood and was greeted by a ginormous fireball that mushroom clouded into the Black Friday sky. I would later tell tales of it dwarfing Snoopy at Macy's Day Parade. The adult from Crowder's appeared and quickly extinguished the flames with a red Solo cup of water. Apparently, the doohickey rubbed against the thingamabob, which made it cattywampus and sparked a small flame. His words, not mine. We pushed the Mustang back into Crowder's lot, and I threw the keys to the adult. He must have been part-time, as he was more amused with our misfortune than concerned about a flambéed pony car. Like other firsts from my past, it was over too soon. I was slightly disappointed and mildly confused. Was this all that there was to classic car ownership? A thrilling beginning, a lukewarm experience intermingled with threats of danger, misfortune, and bliss. Why, yes, it was. Classic car ownership is a wonderful experience that's worth all of the busted knuckles, dirty hands, and the occasional singed eyebrows that come with owning one. Thankfully, unlike Kmart's Black Friday sale, this experience was void of blue police lights. Those would show up later. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll know that that is a picture of my GTO with a cop behind me with his blue lights flashing. All right, that's my e-newsletter. Again, if you'd like to be a part of this going forward, shoot me your email at greg@thecollectorcarpodcast.com. And now let's hear from our sponsors. And all right, we are continuing the update episode here, and I want to bring on our podcast sponsors, LLC TLC. All of you know Grace, but we have a new guest with us, Priscilla. So Grace, if you would, introduce yourself again, introduce Priscilla, and let us know how things are going.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us, Greg. Yeah, so I'm Grace Olvin. I handle all of our marketing and assist the sales team. And then Priscilla here is on our sales team as well. And so she interfaces a lot with clients and people who are interested in packages and curious about what LLC TLC does. So what we do is we form Montana LLCs for people so that they can register vehicles and save on sales tax in the state that they live in. So that's quick overview of, how we are helping people and what we focus on.
Okay, so you've said that before because that came out really well and concise.
Yeah.
I like that. That was very good.
Yeah, you get used to saying it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Priscilla, tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you like any certain type of classic, exotic, supercar, or what is your flavor of classic car, collector car?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question. And I honestly, sorry, Greg, I don't know a lot about cars besides what I hear.
That's okay. You're here to learn. So
yes, I learn all the time from people, but I can't say that I have a favorite.
Okay. Well, I like that. That means you like everything. So
yeah. There you go. That's the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Grace, it was really cool seeing you in person. Now, if you joined me at the Cincinnati Concord Elegance, you met Grace and Britta. So tell us a little bit about your visit to Cincinnati and kind of how that whole entire weekend went.
Oh, yeah, it was great. I mean, I think, my favorite part is hearing the stories behind people's cars And a lot of people, it's like, well, my dad had one of these, and, then the family sold it. And, so then then I saw one on eBay and I just had to have it. Or one gentleman we spoke to, he said, I've had this car since high school, and, I've just taken care of it. And I just, I didn't have that forethought in high school, that's for sure. But just to hear people's stories around why they like, a certain era of car, or what really attracts them to certain brands or years, is just really cool, because a lot of people have really personal stories to share with that. The car museum was also really, really cool. Just the wide variety of classic cars that he had was a lot of fun to see. So yeah, we had a great time, and Cincinnati's a really cool area, really beautiful. So yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, and the car museum you're talking about is actually a private collection that he's been gracious enough to open it up every Friday and every Saturday. And we did a scavenger hunt at the end of the countryside tour, in which it's all American cars, like 200 American cars, except for 3. There was one Canadian Ford, which technically isn't an American car. It's a North American car, right? I think there was a DeLorean. So you got the Back to the Future DeLorean, which I believe is technically Irish. And I think there was a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. So yeah, I know you had a lot of fun talking to Mike about his collection of cars there. Now, I know with LLC TLC, there's different package levels, but then not only is it just for classic cars, but you can also do like your RV, ATV. Tell us a little bit about how that, let's say, an entry level package works, and if you wanted to add on a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure. So we do have a few packages available, and they vary mostly based on the privacy of the LLC filing, because some people want some privacy around that. They want their names or their addresses left off of the filing. But all of our packages include getting your LLC set up and getting a standard vehicle registered. And then you can always add other vehicles on to that LLC, so that all your vehicles are owned by one LLC.
So people register a wide, we get motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, RVs, mini trucks, really people have various reasons. Sometimes it's sales tax, but I think we spoke about before, sometimes it's the appeal of permanent registration, or, well, I want to be street legal, and quite a few vehicles that aren't street legal in other states are street legal in Montana. So that's another reason that people will do it. So yeah, there really is no limit to kind of what people will register.
You can do whatever you want in Montana, can't you?
A little,
Seems like
it's flexible, yeah.
So is there any vehicle that's not street legal in Montana? Like, could I show up with my flame throwing trike crazy? Like, what is illegal in Montana from a car perspective?
I mean, there are some, to be street legal, there is a checklist of items the vehicle has to have. Like there are some dirt bikes that we can't register because they don't reach the certain minimum miles per hour. So there are some, but Montana doesn't have smog tests. That's another reason people will sometimes come to us. But as long as the vehicle meets everything on the Montana street legal checklist, we can register it.
So
not sure about flame throwing.
Yeah, I haven't had one of those.
It's not on the checklist. It's not off the checklist.
So it's not legal because it's too slow. That's an interesting one. I would think it might be, it's too fast. No, too slow. Okay. All righty. Well, I know you made a special effort to get down to Cincinnati to say hello, and to, I know you guys are sponsors of the Cincinnati Concours, which we thank you, obviously. Are you hitting any other car shows or events in 2025 yet, or are you kind of waiting to see how it goes?
Yeah, we're kind of waiting to see how things go. The Amelia, we're kind of considering maybe, and then potentially the Las Vegas Concours next fall, thinking about that one as well. But yeah, we're just kind of sitting back and seeing what happens, and kind of what everything looks like.
Well, thank you for this great update. As always, I appreciate you on the Collector Car Podcast and being sponsors of the Collector Car Podcast.
Yeah, thanks again, Greg. We appreciate it.